All right, welcome to episode 4 of customizing the FPS template in Roblox. And today's episode, we're just going to be doing some basic customization. We're going to be customizing the muzzle flash, the bullet stream, the impact effects. We're also going to be putting in sounds. So we shouldn't be doing any scripting. In the last episode, I said I wanted to do for the reticle when we aim, the reticle disappears. Depending on how much we get through today, how fast we do it, we might do that, which requires light scripting, but we shall see. I will put on the screen of what you're going to need today. Now you can see in my workspace, I already have some texture packs with some texture IDs and a regular particle effect. I'm going to be using these as examples of, you can use both ways. Doesn't really matter. Or you can make your own particle, which is fine as well. But yeah, I'm just going to be using these as an example. I'll probably use these these three, well, this one really for the AK, and then I'll use the actual, like an actual particle for the pistol, just to give two different examples. So before we jump in, I noticed something in the last episode that when we shoot, the circle burst is to the left. You can kind of see it, and luckily that's an easy fix. So we'll just go into replicated storage, find our blaster, find our view model, find the view model that we're going to be working in, AK, go into it, into the blaster, find our body, find our muzzle attachment, and we'll go into the muzzle attachment and we can find our uh, particle emitters. And we'll grab both of them and we can enable them so we can see what we're working with. Now, let's rotate this at 90 degrees so then our particle is lined up. And that fixes it. So to change over the particle, especially if you're working like with a texture, all we got to do is we'll take our flash emitter. We have to find the texture ID. And then we'll grab our decal here and we'll grab this texture ID and we'll just copy it. And then we'll go to the flash emitter and then we just paste. Simple as that. And then as you can see, it changes. Now, in these properties, we can customize to, the to our heart's content here. Um, but I think what I'll do is change the size of it. Now, there's two different ways we could change the size. We can put in a basic number. We could say 0.5, be like, okay, that's good enough. Or we can go and use Roblox's this is like a timeline. And with this timeline, we can at a certain point in time we could say, okay, we want the particle to do this. And then it levels back down. Now, this is kind of impractical, but you get the idea. What I want to do is kind of make this a lot smaller. We can say at the start, be over here, and then it kind of levels off here, and then it kind of goes up a little bit. And yeah, that works. That looks pretty good. We can close this out, see how it looks. We can make it a little bit smaller. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. Now we could also do the same thing for the circle emitter. If that's too big, we can just come down here and just kind of turn it down. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks all right. We could, like I said, we could customize like the rate, the lifetime, rotation, all that stuff. But I'm not gonna be doing all that. Do want to change the colors though. Now I'm thinking for the circle emitter, I kind of want like I do want a yellow, but I kind of went more towards white. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we can go to the flash emitter. Now for the flash emitter, I'm thinking like a yellow, more towards red, so it's like an orange. So we'll go like a bright yellow. And then we can press OK. And yeah, that looks pretty good. And that's basically it for the muzzle. And we can close this all out and then put this back in the workspace. And then we can press play. See how it all looks. Oh, I forgot to do something. We have to go back in our blaster here. Grab these and disable these. That should fix it. Now for the the impact, we have to go into our objects folder. We're just gonna drag this entire folder out so that we can see what's going on. And as you can see, we have our, we'll go into it, we have our laser beam, environment, and character impact. We'll start off with the laser beam, and we have our core beam and other beam. Now for the core beam, we're gonna change the texture to this. So we'll just do just like the flash. We'll just copy our texture. We'll go into our core, paste this in, and there you go. Now you can see that our other beam is kind of like a, almost like the bullet is like breaking the sound barrier. We can change the speed of this. We'll say 1. We can do a lot of different settings. It's a little too slow. But we could change the size of this. Where is the size? Ah, the width. So we could change the width of it to make it a little bit more subtle. We can actually kind of go smaller. Now, we can also take this away. Let's say, you don't really want the player to see all of this. So, but we need this other beam because the script calls it. Because if you take it away, you're going to get an error. So what we can do is just set this transparent and you won't be able to see it. And then for the core beam, we can actually change the speed of it to say 30. It's too fast. Let's change the length. And we can just mess around with this. And then we can change the speed again to get it more of like a bullet effect. But I think kind of liked it at what it was before. Yeah, this isn't too bad. We can actually maybe change the length a little bit. Change this to a 5. We'll change this to a 5. And yeah, that's pretty good. Now we can just change the color. Make this a yellow, a bit more red. Go. And that's basically it for the laser, or the bullet effect, I should say. And for the impacts, we can go in. We'll start with the environmental impact, and we will enable this. And I kind of want to change this so it's a little bit more defined. So we're going to use this one. I kind of like the way this looks. And basically the same thing as before, just copy and paste. Very simple. And then we'll take our circle emitter and we'll paste that in. That looks pretty good. We'll change the color of it. Maybe a little lighter. Kind of like this. We'll change the color of the sparks to more yellow. And then we can kind of do the same thing what we did with the muzzle flash. We could change the size of all this, which I'm going to do now. I think it's a little too big. So we can go to the size and we can level this off. Let's see. I don't want to be able to see here. That looks pretty good. And then we can change the spark size. That's got to be down a lot. Just a little bit. We can change our envelop. That looks pretty good. We change the color a little bit. Make it a little darker. I'm doing the spark. Okay, let's change the color to this. Okay. Make this a little darker. It looks pretty good. Then we can just disable this. It's ready to go. Now for the character impact, I have a little bit of like theory. I don't know if it's like scientific or anything, but it makes sense to me. So what I'm thinking is combining how the way this looks with in conjunction with the Roblox's hit marker. I think an FPS, in my opinion, an FPS is pretty defined by the way the hit marker feels in a sense. So like Call of Duty or Fortnite or CS:GO, you name it, any FPS. The way you hit a player is, depending on how satisfying it really like defines the game. So my theory is like if I can get how this looks in conjunction with the hit marker, that I want it to feel really good, like give like a reward system for when a player hits another player, so to speak. So that's kind of my thought process going on here. So we're just gonna grab this decal, copy, and we are going to go to our circle emitter here, paste, enter, and see how that looks. Now I kind of like the color already, maybe a little bit darker, a bit more red, because the hit marker is also red. But I don't want to like overpower the hit marker. I kind of want to know. I want it to work together. So I think that's good. But I also want to take the spark emitter. I want to change the color's fine, but I want to change the size of it. That looks good. And yeah, that's it for the impact here, and we'll just disable this. And this is basically ready to go. We could put this folder right back inside of Blaster, and we can get this out. Yeah, it looks pretty good. You can see the stream of the bullet. Definitely a lot more subtle. Gives kind of like, bullets, a lot faster. because in the basic one, you can see like the whole beam. So we have our environmental effect here, which is nice. Let's see how the impact looks. Yeah, that feels very satisfying. We can actually go a little bit darker on the impact, but it feels very good. Looks good, feels good. All right, let's move on to sounds. Now, for the sounds, we have to actually go into the tool itself. So let's collapse all these. Now, I have a folder here. This is where I put all my sounds that I'm going to be using. So we have to go into our starter pack. That's where I have all my tools. We go into it, and then we find our sounds. And you can see that all the sounds are right here. And it's basically the same thing what we did with the impact, the muzzle. It's just copy and paste. So we'll go into our shoot here. We'll find our folder, and we just take the sound ID, copy, and then we just paste it in all of these shoots. Just paste, enter, paste, enter, paste, enter. Now, we might have to play around with the sound because it might be too loud or not loud enough. But we'll test that here in a second. Now, the equip sound, play it from here. No, I can't. Okay. I think the equipped sound is fine. Uh, the mag in, mag out for the auto blaster is somewhat fine. I mean, we could change it to more of a traditional AK, how how the clip sounds when it comes out, comes in, all that stuff. But the charger is a little bit more defining. So, like this is the sound. Yeah. So we're just gonna copy that, and we'll just paste that in, and that is pretty much it for the AK. And we can just test this out, make sure it sounds okay. The chargings lines up with the because you got to make sure like that it all lines up with the animations, especially if you're not going to like change up the animations. You want it to line up. Yeah, so the mag in mag out doesn't sound terrible. The shooting is a little too soft, so we could change how the volume is. um the charging handle sounds perfect the way it is, so we can come back into our starter pack, go back into sounds, go into our shoot, grab all these, and we could find our volume. Um, let's just try one. Might be too loud. No, that actually sounds pretty good. All right, so that's basically it for the AK. Um, Now we can start working on the pistol, and I want to change the muzzle of the pistol. So we'll come in, find our view models, we'll find our pistol, drag it out, and basically, as before, we just find our muzzle attachment. I think this is fine. I didn't notice anything wrong with the pistol. We'll grab our emitters here, enable them so I can see. And now to use the like a particle effect, all we got to do is basically just take all of these and then put them in. Now, I believe we have to make sure that it's named circle emitter and flash emitter, right? So let's see what I can take out of here. We can add them, we could add all of these in if need. Actually, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's just do that. We'll just put this all into the attachment. And we'll find this one. We'll start disabling. Okay, so the bright wave we want. What about the dark wave? Dark wave's okay. Well, we can actually take that out. We'll just delete that. And then the sparks can be our circle emitter. So we can rename this circle emitter. And then we can name this um, flash emitter. And then we can disable this one, disable this one. Find these two, we can delete these. Enable. And then we can start adjusting all the properties to get it the way we want. Change the size of it. Grab all these points. Make this a 0. 0. 0. 0. And then we can start making this a lot smaller. We'll adjust that here in a second, but we can come down. See how that looks. We're gonna make sure it's locked apart. That's also pretty important. So it stays with the view model. We change the direction. Make it push out. Box. We'll make sure it's pushing out. So this is what I have so far. I messed around with the lifetime, the rate, the speed. Make sure it's like pushing outwards, mission direction front, all that good stuff. And this is what I got so far. We could change the size of it even more, but from back here, it looks pretty good. And now we can move on to the circle emitter, and we're gonna have this enabled. That's just ridiculous. The rate is way too high. So is the speed. And then the size of it is. So we can come to each point. Let's make this a 0. Keep making a new point. So that's. And then we can just do as before, just kind of make this very small. Small. Looks pretty good. And then we can come back down here and start messing around with the all the other properties. All right, so I got it the way I kind of like it. We shall see how it all looks. So what we're gonna do is just put this all back. And before I forget, we are going to disable these. And let's see how that looks. Hmm. Might have to change the lifetime. That does not really work, does it? Change this to a 0.25, I mean. Not bad. Not bad, not bad. Needs a little bit more adjusting, so let me fast forward even more and kind of adjust all this. All right, so I got it the way that looks pretty decent. Yeah, so that's kind of how you use like actual particle effects. Really have fun with it. And now we just got to move on to the sound. I do want to fix the mag, so let's do that real quick. Go to our view model. We'll grab our pistol. Blaster. Find out. Zine. Yeah, it is clipping. So we'll push this in a little bit. Make sure it's not clipping on the other side. We can make this smaller. that up. All right, we'll see how that looks. And then we're pretty much done. Let me just look at the time. We might just save the reticle for a different episode. Oh yeah, lot better, lot better. All right, that's gonna be yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. As usual, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.